Here.
I'm here. Minutes of the September 1st meeting were emailed. Do you have any additions or corrections?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's carried, thank you. 10. I know you guys were talking when we came in about the Gamble property. Is that something I was going to discuss at the Board of Works? Do we need to discuss this at the Board of Works?
I can just briefly mention it for the record. I think everybody was here anyway, but the letter that was sent out to Mr. Gamble came in incompletely, filled out an application, and in the process of reviewing it, a question arose as to whether or not the proper procedure would be to pursue a special use exception in residential zoning, or whether the property actually needed to be rezoned, and that may or may not then require a special use exception to be granted by the BZA as well. The problem that you run into is the definition of home occupation, which is what the special use exception to be sought would be. Doesn't really fit well because it limits square footage, and it's really designed and anticipated that you're talking more about, somebody doing hair treatments or beauty treatments in home, or selling cosmetics out of a house or things like that. Not so much the type of use that's currently existing. So then the issue is, okay, do you then rezone? If you rezone, you run into issues of spot zoning, or you run into opening up the types of uses to be far more expansive than what currently exists, if it's allowed. If it's not allowed at all, now you're shutting off a business operation that's been in existence for probably a decade. The argument that would be made there is that you're interfering with a business operation and that's causing damage to the business operator, or you are now trying to shut down a non-conforming use that was grandfathered in. So I don't know that you want to go down that path either. In the end, what was decided is that the individual would be advised to pursue a home occupation use, and we're going to try to make that work to address the concerns of the residents in the nearby area, but without necessarily eliminating the business. And that's assuming that the special use exception is even granted. So we'll have to see whether or not that happens. But if the individual chooses to pursue rezoning, that's just that person's prerogative, and that would be up to the Plan Commission to decide whether or not that should be granted or not. That's where we are.
Okay. So I know the letter, we sent Mr. Gamble a letter on August 24th, and it did give him, we did advise him that he could file for a petition for special use exception. So he has come forward.
He came in, he did not have the application completed properly, so it was not accepted, but in the meantime, then the question arose whether it actually even fit under the home occupation use.
Okay.
And that's what prompted this discussion at the Plan Commission meeting. The other issue that was raised in the letter is the removal of parts and
machinery,
if that's the case. Now, if they're operational vehicles, I don't know that we have any authority to remove those, but if they're non-operating vehicles, especially if they're parked on the public streets, we can tag them and tow them. If there are body parts, things like that are being stored in the open,
Automobile body parts.
Yeah. I went by there this afternoon. There's a couple of vehicles that have tarps on them, and
Well, they're not operable, though.
I don't know. I don't know. But if it's a violation of the code, then we can try to pursue it.
When?
Well, that's my question.
We're past the date we gave him.
Well, we're not really, Kenny, in the fact that we said he could come up and apply, and he's done that.
But the next sentence or so then says he has
In addition, you shall be given until Monday, September 7th, to remove all inoperable vehicles which are currently stored at said location. But I think that
That's
refers,
only if he didn't do it. yeah.
file for the petition.
Right.
They petitioned, so,
So has he
So
completed
he fills that application wrong, and we look like goofballs because we're not enforcing what we told him he had to do.
I'm looking for some guidance from the Plan Commission here, and they discussed it. They're gonna move forward on it. Is that right, Tim? They're moving forward with,
I think it's up to the individual. He's going to be told he has to file something, so he can choose whether he files for rezoning or whether he's going to pursue the special use exception.
And in the meantime, he can just have the place looking dilapidated.
well, no, I think that's what Bill was getting at. I think inoperable means if there's vehicle body parts laying around, they have to be cleaned up, and if there's an engine missing out of a vehicle, you tow the vehicle. I don't know if we can do that on private property, but if it's out in the street, I know that we can do that.
Well, what we can do, I mean, if you want me to file a lawsuit against him, we can go through the court and get a court order.
You can do that.
Or,
We can do that, but that's gonna take some time too.
yeah, it's not going to happen overnight.
Or we can send him one of my forms with trash, junk trash and debris, and give him so many days to clean it up, and if not, then the city will have the right to go in and clean it up.
if he were granted special exemption through planning
That's what we already
commission,
did.
he'd still have to clean
Well,
it
it's
up.
not
No, we
the,
didn't do
it's
that.
not the notice. We send
And that's really the problem, is
we send him,
It's
we
never
normally
looked
send
great, but
letters
it's
out
looking
first,
worse.
then we
recently.
give the notice under the code enforcement.
So,
I just think this guy's just sitting there laughing at us.
I don't think so. I think, we have the hammer, we just need to bring it down on him now, and a lawsuit, that's gonna be expensive for us, and it's gonna take some time to do, so I think we go through the process of the Plan Commission, and
This is, in some ways, it kind of reminds me of dealing with the Craig situation. I mean, we gave deadlines
Exactly.
after deadlines. Eventually, we got it done without having to incur a lot of expense in the process, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
we are moving forward, though, is that right?
Yep.
Is that what the Plan Commission said?
I think clearly, if there are items that are being stored that are in violation of the code, then I would
Oh, yeah, we can have that.
definitely serve notice, and if he doesn't get them, then we'll go in and take care of it.
I can do that.
I would file that form, Bill, give him that form. It
That's
gives
what I
him
meant.
X amount of days, and
I mean,
if he doesn't follow through with it, then we do it, and then charge him for it.
the typical procedure is we normally send out a letter such as I did to try to get voluntary compliance. If that doesn't happen, then we serve the notice, and if they still don't do it, then we come in and we take care of it.
Whatever we need to do,
Let's do
I
it.
think we need to be doing it.
I agree.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Thank you.
Do you have any questions, Leah?
No, but remember, I'm 77, I don't have too much time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to go to the train depot. Susie, you the speaker again? Not tonight? Not tonight? You passed it on to Sherry? If you remember, last month they were, or last meeting they were here, and we talked about the roof, and we said, hey, we would share in that cost and do what we could do. Phyllis has found some funds available through the foundation. We still have some funds in the foundation for things like this, and we can use that, and then the difference or whatever's left over would come out of the CCD fund. So it's already been approved at the last meeting. It's just tonight we're going to tell you what it is. And I believe Sandy received some quotations for roof repair.
We have 3 estimates. One from Limberlost, which I shared with you the last time, at $10,200. One from Arnold Lumber, that's $7,209.05. And one from Carter's, and that is $7,800. And we gave them the same parameters, so it should all be... No? Okay, $7,000.
Yeah, Arnold's was $7,209, and then Carter's You said it was 7,800?
Add 800 to 7,000.
No, we added 800 to 200.
Okay,
So it's
7,000 even.
7,000. And that's from Carter's? I'm not familiar with them.
Carter Lumber.
Carter Lumber? Okay. Oh, I see.
And can I make one clarification? That Sandy didn't know this. Carter Lumber is the only one that quoted reinstalling the gutters with new hooks that will go under the roof line. Roger had asked me to see if they could re-quote with that, and Carter was the only one that was able to do
Carter
that
did labor.
quickly. So the
Phil
other
Summers
two,
is our,
the other two
Phil Summers.
estimates of quotes will be a little higher once they add in. Carter's amount that they added in was 800 to reinstall the current gutter, which Roger says is okay.
He sells it,
And
he
then
does the
put
work.
the gutter hooks, use gutter hooks that will fit under the roof line so that they don't show.
So Carter's, they quoted the material and the labor to get this done.
Everybody did.
Everybody did,
Everybody's
okay.
quoted.
I'm just not familiar with Carter's actually doing construction work. They sell materials normally. Yeah,
They have a roofer.
okay.
Everybody's quoted the same, except Carter is the only one that included...
Got a little extra.
access. So everybody else would have to include a little more also.
Okay. Okay, so just to clarify then, you got a price in of $7,000.
What type of roof, Sandy?
It's asphalt.
So,
We did, someone had asked about it, inquiring about a metal roof. We checked with the National Historic Registration, and they said that metal would hurt
Be
our
accepted,
chances to be
yeah.
accepted.
Okay.
So we didn't go any further with that.
good.
Does this include tear-off?
It, let me just read to you the parameters that we gave. This is what, let's see. Ice guard on the overhangs and valleys, underlayment of 15% premium felt, new drip edge, metal flashing as required, all fasteners, labor to remove the old and install the new, and it also included a dumpster.
What about any roof ventilation?
It was referred to, he said the main item other than venting is, well, the biggest hurdle for any asphalt roof is to get the longest lifespan is how the building roof is vented. With the age of the depot, I would be surprised if it's vented 100% the same as new buildings. So he knows, this is from Limberlost, he knows that there is a concern there, and they will address it. The other, Joan mentioned that the Sheriff Arnold does, and I'm pretty sure that Carter included that, the roof vent, or the, what is it?
There's ridge vent
Ridge
and...
vent. Ridge vent. They all Arnold has that, yeah.
Okay, so refresh my memory on what our commitment was to this project.
Well, we had asked you to go half the cost.
So are you asking us for $3,500? It's a low quote of $7,000. And I think we've approved that, up to $5,000, I thought. So, yes, we'd have the money to do that.
We did give all of this to Roger to look over.
To look over, okay.
He did.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he might have a recommendation as to...
He was fine with what you gave
With
him,
any of it?
so.
Okay.
Excuse me, Sandy. Nate, do you have a comment?
And it's a public building, so essentially you need to be the contract holder. So wouldn't you be the one that essentially...
We'll be the contract holder. You give us half the money, instead of us giving you half the money. We'll take instead of give.
Actually, you have our other half.
Very good,
Comes up, you know,
Yeah, well, that's fine.
essentially cover the difference.
Well, I appreciate you getting the quotes, and I think we can move forward. I think we have the $3,500. Like I said, Community Foundation had some money for this building. We'll use that up, and then the remainder will come out of the CCD fund. So I think we're ready to go.
Thank you.
If we need to be the lead on it and be the contractor...
Roger could do that.
Contract we'll just have Roger do that.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, thanks, I appreciate you moving forward on it. Thanks. Thanks for your help. Okay, let's get into some Old City Hall business here. Barker Realty has listed the building. We've gotten 2 offers on the building. Tim, what do we do next? I need some guidance here.
Well, obviously, the terms have to be reviewed. You have to determine whether you're willing to accept either one of the offers as submitted. If I recall, I think on the first offer that was submitted, the city has until noon of tomorrow to either accept or reject or possibly counter the offer. The offer is by PIP LLC. Purchase price is $57,600. $500 earnest money deposit. Balance would be due at closing. There would be a conventional mortgage obtained on the property. It appears that the condition would be, or the offer would be conditioned upon obtaining the approval for financing. The application has to be submitted within 10 days, and then they have 45 days to receive loan approval. Closing would be on or before October 22nd or within 3 days after clear to close, whichever is later. Yeah, I'm getting there. I think there is, if I remembered when I looked at it. Possession would be at closing. There's no survey requirement.
We had a survey done, though.
Okay.
Well, we haven't got it back, but there is a survey that will be provided.
Second condition to the offer is that the buyer obtain a favorable written commitment for homeowners insurance. The buyer reserves the right to have independent inspections. That has to be done within 15 days of acceptance of the agreement. If the inspection were to show the presence of lead-based paint, radon, mold, other biologic contaminants, or conditions, the buyer then the buyer has a right to make a written objection to any problem revealed. And then if the seller says if the buyer believes that the inspection report reveals a defect with the property and seller is unable or unwilling to remedy the defect to the buyer's satisfaction before closing, then the buyer can terminate the agreement. The city would be obligated to provide title insurance showing marketable title, which is typical. Taxes are really not an issue. They're prorated in this case, but there aren't any issued. Further conditions, the city is to provide an environmental inspection and 8 closest parking spots also included with agreement. I'm not sure about parking, but I believe there's possibly 4 parking spots available up next to the building.
Right
and
south
that's
side of the building, maybe 3, maybe
3
or
possibly 4, but 8 are not available unless you're talking about parceling out part of the existing parking lot, which was, that's up to you. That's the only way you're going to get 8
Read
parking
the
spaces.
environmental again, Tim.
But we don't, we're a survey, we need it.
To my knowledge, it's back, so many feet back, and I don't think you're going to get 8 parking spots.
Okay, it doesn't go across.
The alley. If you call it an alley behind the barber shop,
Right.
Two Brothers City Hall.
Okay, I didn't know, that's why we wanted the
Right,
survey,
right.
because we didn't know what our depth parameters were.
It just says city to provide an environmental inspection. So,
Entail.
I think it's similar to what we've
Right,
done.
phase
with
one,
some other-
phase two.
Phase 1 and Phase 2 environmental study, which,
What kind of cost associated with it?
probably $1,000 or less.
okay, so that's the first offer.
And may I ask, that offer is brought to us by what realtor?
That's through Barger.
And the contract is through Barger as the agent and from all the way through Barger, so our
3%
charges-
commission.
Okay.
Okay, second offer is submitted, the listing broker shown Barger, selling broker Krukenberg auction. The buyer is Joe Rubel, Paul Rubel, and Josh Krukenberg. The offer submitted is $60,000. Earnest money of $2,000 would be paid, with the balance due at closing.
I want to ask Tim a question. Excuse me for interrupting Tim, but I have a conflict of interest in this. One of the buyers is related to me, so
Yeah, you should,
I will
you should
excuse
recuse
myself.
yourself, and you shouldn't deliberate in making a decision between the two, if a decision is made.
gotcha. I will do that at this time.
Which rubles was it again?
It's Joe Rubel, Paul Rubel, and Josh Krukenberg. Again, it's subject to obtaining financing. The closing date would be October 16th, or 3 days after the documents are completed and closing can occur. It does require a boundary survey.
Nate, how close were we on the survey? Do you know?
Field work is complete, he's been working on the office work. I just checked my email, I haven't received it yet, so.
Okay.
So in this case, the buyer waives the right to have independent inspections. Title insurance is required. Taxes are prorated again, which doesn't matter. A further condition, seller will add to property a 40 by 40 section of land straight south of property.
What's that mean?
Means,
The
again, the
parking
same
lot.
issue with parking, that they're requiring an additional strip of ground that would allow for additional parking beyond what's available next to the building. The offer is good until 6 p.m. tomorrow. So those are the two offers that have been submitted. The second offer would be a 5% commission, and I think it's 3% to, is it 3% to Krukenberg, 2
Three
to
to
Barger, and
2 to Barger.
2 to Barger.
And the price was 60 even.
Yes.
So for someone that doesn't know, 40 by 40, that means, is that 8 spaces too?
About that.
So they both want parking attached.
It's a parking space, 20 by 8, that's...
I wish Roger was here.
10 by 20.
10 by 20.
They would have 180 square feet.
8 spaces.
So yours is 18 by 10, maybe 9 by 40. Trying to get the best they're looking at, 10 by 20 square.
Are we willing to give up that parking? And how do we do that? Do we mark it, that belongs to that business?
That's your call. I mean, you own the adjoining property, so you know,
It would
the,
be their duty to put signs up. You know, they own the property,
Well,
that wouldn't be our duty.
I'll address just,
and I'm not saying you have to give any additional parking.
No, I understand that, but I mean, once they buy, if we gave it to them, it would be up to them to designate, hey, this is, you know, just like other people do.
And then for the deal parking agreement,
That's what I was just wondering.
doing an easement and parking agreement, so we're trying to subdivide parcel out.
Yeah.
Well, then you're making a counteroffer, yeah. You certainly have the ability to do that.
Mike, you got anything to add? Karen, excuse me?
Okay, you guys have any questions?
Well, the parking seems to be one of the questions, Karen, so, I don't know how steadfast they are as far as, do they demand 8 spots, or would they negotiate down to 4, would they go to 6, you know, I don't know. To me, parking is something that we had when we were at City Hall. I mean, we all parked back there. We probably had, I don't know, on a daily basis, 6 vehicles, maybe 8 vehicles every day. And so, you know, I can justify my own mind that you can have some parking going along with it, because that's what we did when we were there. We had parking, you know, city had parking there, and we were never subject to
The other problem you run into, if you're talking about adding to, we haven't determined that we want to sell the property, and so my question is, do we have to, as a sliver of this parking lot, now go through the whole bidding process?
So, open it up to everybody.
It creates an issue.
Well, if you do sell it, or if it goes with the property as an easement or as a type of a lifetime agreement, then it still belongs to the city.
Yeah,
A
that-
lifetime agreement to go with the building so they have parking. I think that's what both of them are interested in.
Right. I
And
understand.
I think it could be negotiable as far as what areas are available for parking.
Correct.
You know, what I call the back lot, the farthest lot to the south.
Uh-huh.
You know, you can get 3 spots up by the building, I'll say a minimum of 3, and then you could have 3 or 4 more in the back lot. And
Yeah.
it wouldn't be changing anything that we've got right now, to me.
The only, I guess, concern I have with the idea of, I mean, it's a lot cleaner if we just can say, we own the lot, but you have, yes, what about other businesses?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
Say,
You're right.
We just
Yeah.
had this argument last week, we were gonna open a can of worms and we started giving everybody parking spots.
But you know, that lot's never full. I've found very seldom that you can't find parking back there, like you say, where you park, John.
I've never seen it full.
I always pull in there, and there's always spots.
The problem is you park there, and 2 hours later, you got a chalk mark on your tire and a ticket.
We're setting a precedent, though, that, you know, because right there, I mean, if I was, I wanted to...
Two brothers.
Two brothers, or right there, the, well,
Java Bean,
yeah,
any of them.
say, okay, well,
We wanna
my
buy
portion for
X amount of parking.
Now, they're not giving us any money like this, but I guess that's a concern. We're not selling, we wouldn't be selling off the land, we're selling the building.
There's also an issue, and I'd have to go back and look at, if I remember right, in the deed, the one deed that we took title, there was some language about maintaining the alley that pardon? Yeah, let me look at that.
I'm thrilled we have 2 offers.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah,
And parking is an issue. I don't blame those
For one
buyers
parking.
from one for parking. Not at all.
in the deed to the city, back in, when we acquired part of in-lot 86, and that was done back in 1915.
They had parking lots back then?
Well, it says, "It is hereby agreed by and between grantor and grantee that a private driveway 8 feet wide off the south side of the real estate shall be at all times be maintained to extend from 3rd Street to the alley on the east line of said inlet 86." Okay? So, what, technically,
Parking.
that's where you're talking about the parking. So, at least on, yeah.
From behind City Hall to 3rd Street.
Not running, yeah.
Yeah.
East and west.
But you can
That's
park
the alley
in the
there, right?
building and not block that easement.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think so.
Right,
only
but
has 3 or
what I'm
4
saying is if you're talking about taking a strip off and having additional parking there, then you may have a
That would be a whole
problem.
separate issue.
Right,
I agree.
So basically, right now, we know we can get, it's either 3 or 4 spaces that will come with the building.
right. Then the issue is whether you want to make a counter offer that either that's it, take it or leave it, or you can say that the city would, as part of, you would dedicate so many parking spaces somewhere in the parking lot. That's up to you.
Well, if you make a counteroffer, then the deadlines will not be met then.
No, well, if you make a counter offer, you're rejecting the offer and then you counter.
I have the counter paperwork. If you guys decide what you want to do, we can fill it out and then just make it to how long you want for them to agree. Or, you're pretty much going to have to choose one and then make a counter offer to that person.
But do we give the first offer, do we give them the ability to offer more?
I don't remember the exact.
How's that work?
What,
You can. Well,
The average is
I have
two appraisals.
I have another form that's a
57.6.
multiple.
That's
it's
the
a
average of the
multiple
2
offer
appraisals.
paperwork that gives them both the opportunity.
Wasn't one of them like...
The
No,
second offer
64.
is off the table
64,
after
then
tonight.
90% of that.
And pretty much
57.
they don't want to do that. These are their best offers,
Can,
from what I understand.
can we make take a little money off of it in lieu of giving them the parking places and say, hey, there's 3 or 4 and we'll take a few thousand,
you gotta be careful because we gotta be 90% of the...
That's why
two
I'm
appraised.
asking Mr.
And,
Baker what.
yeah, that starts a whole new process we have to go
Okay.
through.
I think you could
The pain in the-
counter the parking spots that come with it.
Do we have to be at 90%?
That's the minimum, 90%.
Okay.
You can
The
take
appraised
less,
value.
but you gotta
Yeah,
advertise that you're gonna do it and then
Probably
it
the simple
delays
thing
it.
is just counter it with the parking that's there.
Yeah.
Can we tell them, I mean, it's the board works, I know, say, hey, we'll take your offer with 3 parking places there.
What we're saying is, what the survey shows is what you get. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
that's what I'm saying.
And if there's somewhere inside that surveyed area that you can park, then so be it. Is that what we're saying?
Right.
That's what,
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's what Bill's saying.
That's, I'm good with
That
that.
keeps it clean.
I'm good with that.
Tim, does that keep it clean?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You may not have a buyer if they don't accept
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but that's,
But the other one opens up a whole new can
Yeah.
of worms about...
It
I don't-
creates some issues.
I don't think we can set precedent
Yeah,
and
because
start giving up.
kind of ironic, all this parking comes up,
Yeah.
and 5 years ago, in 2010, we did a comprehensive study on parking, came back, and everybody, there's really not a parking issue here. Now, all of a sudden, here in 2 meetings,
Separate pieces of
Yeah.
real estate.
Yeah.
There's nothing, we tried this before with CenturyLink, right? There's nothing that says that we can't go back to that same concept and say, listen, for those businesses that are here, we're willing to, and that includes all of it, not just that who wants to locate in this.
yeah. You may want to reconsider whether you're just gonna rent
The
out
attorney
spaces.
offices, they would rent.
Bill, you remember how we had that, wasn't it,
That lot
somebody
had to
could-
be a 2-hour lot.
in the back, they could have,
parking lot.
they could have a
24 hours.
spot for X amount of dollars per year, per month.
I thought like $50 a year.
Yeah.
What did it come out to?
$50.
$50 a year?
I think it was.
It was so much a month, yeah.
I don't know how it's...
Yeah, we'd have to look at that again, but I have that information. Okay.
So I guess the issue is you have 2 offers, you can't accept both, so you gotta choose between the 2, and then you're gonna have to make some kind of a counter.
But it can be clear at this point that we are not even able to negotiate spaces outside of what's on the south side of the building.
I think
Survey shows,
you
like Ken said, whatever the survey
you
shows.
can, but it'll start it'll delay the process for probably at least
It's
3
another
months.
parcel of land, it's not even...
Because it's
the same.
another parcel of land, you have to show that you're gonna, you wanna sell it, you have to have the appraisal done on that strip,
Yeah.
you have to go through the bidding
If you
process.
don't
understand that.
sell it, if you just come to an agreement, say, okay, you're entitled to 4 more spots. Here's the spots you're entitled to. We mark them off.
But then
I'm not
you
in
get
favor
an
of that.
idea for,
Yeah.
Conference, Dalby,
Two brothers.
$2. So I said that's the second conversation.
Yeah, that's a separate issue.
We're willing to work, but we have to work with everybody.
But Tim, in accepting one offer over the other, one's more money, do you give the first person the ability to offer more?
You have 2 offers.
Oh,
You
wait.
have a form you can fill out, and it's basically, it notifies both parties that there are multiple offers, and it gives them the opportunity to come back with something else.
The first offer of 57.6.
I don't like that myself.
We
Now,
have to
that's
pay
just
for
my
an
opinion.
environmental
You know,
inspection, correct?
I used to be in business
First
where you
offer,
had to have a
57.6,
bid, and
we
that
have to
was,
pay for an
that was
environmental
what you did, you know?
Right.
We didn't give no second
60,000,
chance.
We don't
These
have
people
to.
have so placed their bids, they
So
place
that essentially, maybe
not
add
how you sell
1,000
your
to this
house.
one, making
But
it
we're
more like
changing-
58.6,
We're
and this one's
changing-
60.
We're not
Sell
This
your
one,
house for the
we
most money.
only pay
We're not accepting
3%.
either.
No, that reduces that
If you don't keep
because
it-
we have to pay the expense.
As long as they won't pay you more, you
$1,000
do.
taken off of it.
Right,
So it becomes 56.6.
and we only have to pay
That's
3%
how it's
commission.
done. You can put it out
This
there,
one we
you
have to
can
pay
notify them both that there's
5%
multiple
commission.
offers.
Right.
You have a certain amount of time to
This
do
is
it.
the better option.
Or
That's,
you can just accept one of the 2 that are there. Or you can counter one of the 2. You can accept one of the 2 and then counter it.
I don't think we can accept either of them because of that parking issue.
But then you have to pick one and counter it.
you either pick one and counter, or you open it up for both of them to submit new offers.
And then 2.
So that meets that deadline that both of them gave us, both offers?
If you
We're
don't,
just-
if you reject the offer, it doesn't matter the deadline.
Okay.
If you don't respond, the offer automatically terminates at the deadline.
If you decide something by either time tomorrow, counter or
Yeah.
whatever it's going to be.
Yep.
So then you just have to look at the 2 different highlights for each one, you know, which is better for the city.
The first offer of 57.6, we have to pay for an environmental inspection. But the commission we pay is only 3%. So figure that in there.
But you could also counter that type of thing too. I mean, you can counter back
Right.
anything.
You don't have to accept that price.
But we already made an agreement when we set the terms of what we were paying the realtors.
Right.
You don't counter that. I'm
No.
saying the environmental report.
Oh, gotcha.
If he wants to counter and they
You
don't
can
want
counter
to
the
give
price,
them-
you can counter any of the
You can
terms.
counter any of the terms of any of the agreements. It doesn't have to just be the parking.
But my point was that then the second offer, which was a higher price, we pay a 5% commission instead of a 3. To me, out of these 2, the first offer looks,
Have you done the math?
yes, somewhat.
second offer is better.
Yeah, the second one's better.
If you take the first offer, you're gonna take an environmental study, then they have another reason to back out.
Because you gotta remedy it. If they find something, we
Yeah,
gotta
now we're
remedy it.
fixing lead, now we
That's
know
true.
there's lead, now
That's
we
true,
have
good point.
Do the math.
Good
And I wouldn't have
point.
any reason to believe that a building built in
3% of
1915 don't have
57.6 is
lead.
what?
1,728.
1,700, that's what I came up with.
And 3,000 on the
Yeah,
60,000.
so you take 3,000 off the 60,000, that's a net of
Oh, yeah,
57.
okay, yeah, you're right. I was looking at it backwards.
Yeah,
57 would be our net, yeah.
yeah.
The second
And
offer
the other
is
one
the
is
better.
55,872.
Right.
So they still fall in our parameters?
What's that?
Do they fall into our parameters?
Yes,
Yeah.
both of them.
Both of them,
90% of the-
90%.
Second offer.
Of the 64?
So, I think if you're willing to choose one of the offers, then you counter with regard to the parking and say it's limited to whatever parking is available on the
And they
site.
can say whether they're still
And
interested or
there's
not.
no guarantee,
No.
there's no guarantee of additional dedicated spaces, but the city will look into whether that would be made available not only to them, but to other businesses. There's no guarantee that that's going to happen.
Nate had a comment.
If you're looking at trying to subdivide parcels or parking, then you're gonna have additional survey expense
Right.
as well. So we're gonna be
Right.
resurveying.
We're not- I don't think anybody's considering that.
No.
We're talking, right now, I think everybody's in agreement, the real estate that's in our survey, correct? So we're on
Correct.
the same page. Okay.
Right. So that takes us to...
Is there any way?
Yeah, please, please.
Sure, please do, Ted.
Okay, the first offer was made several days ago, from what I understand, and the most recent offer, which mirrors the other offer, only is a few dollars more, was made at 6:02 or whatever this evening. And you know, what,
Deadline.
you can think of what you want or whatever, but it is, you know, it turned into more apparently of a one and done than kind of a whole bump it at the last minute kind of thing. But that's just my 2 cents worth. I think the first person may be open to some kind of negotiating on the terms, but was somehow when that entity made the offer, they felt that they made the offer at the 90%, it didn't have to go to public, and it didn't, and it was basically one and done. That being said, it may not have been their final offer, but it would be unfortunate if someone came in at the 0 hour, not saying they did or didn't have inside information or whatever, I'm not going to go there, but came in with just a few dollars more and the same type of asking with parking spots, and it just seems a little bit peculiar to me. But that's
I don't get why we wouldn't want to sell it for the most money to the city. If we got 2 people interested, maybe one wants to pay more, and maybe the other says, if you want it, take it. I get we got 2 quotes, but if I were selling my house, I'd sell it to the person that wanted to pay the most.
Did we set a deadline on, Tim, when offers had to be in? I mean,
No, it's strictly whatever is
yeah,
submitted.
Yeah.
So,
I submit the offers.
I appreciate what Ted's saying, but it's still, somebody can come in, it's like buying a house. If you've got an offer that's been submitted to the realtor, and as the realtor is going over to the seller, and they get a call from another realtor saying, I got another offer, then the seller is to be given both offers. I mean, until the seller's accepted one, any offer can be considered.
Then they would say, you
Now-
want to counter offer and pay more.
Well, I mean, then the option would be to open it up and let both parties make an additional offer.
And to be fair, I don't know that either party knew that the parking was going to be such a hang-up, so maybe both parties would be willing to, you know, give on that, I guess.
No, I didn't.
I kind of anticipated it myself. I thought parking could be an issue.
That's why you're there.
That's why I'm disqualifying myself for a minute.
Well, at this point, John can't participate on that call, so it's really Bill and Kenny, if you want comments from council, but it's your call as the Board of Works.
We can refuse both offers.
You can reject both and request that they submit or resubmit.
Due to the parking.
Both.
Reject them both.
We can reject them both and let them
If
both.
something else comes up, and then we go through the same.
Do we need to set a timeline, like, okay, we want offers in here by, and then pick a date?
Well, you can, but realistically, if the Board of Works is going to make a decision, the next Board of Works meeting, unless you have a special meeting, and what you could do is, I guess, schedule a special meeting and say if anybody's going to make an offer, it needs to be submitted in time for the Board of Works to consider it as of this date.
I recuse myself, so I hate to put
I'm
you
leaning
two on the
toward just
on the
rejecting
fence
both of
there.
them and letting
Because of the
both-
parking issue.
Rejecting both of them.
Right. Because they're both requesting parking, and the only parking we're saying is available is the 3 or 4 spots right behind the building.
Whatever they can get in there.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean to say that the city can't at a later time look at, whether it would be willing to dedicate additional spaces, but I think that's a bigger issue.
Separate issue.
It's a bigger issue that really brings into play other businesses in the area.
I
So,
can say one thing, if you have someone that wants to buy your property, you shouldn't reject it and turn it down. They want to buy your property. You should do something that continues this, because once it's done, it can be done forever for both of them. And then it can sit there for another year.
So, but we can't accept the offers.
So we could counter them
You
with,
can counter
what's
the
your offer without the
Okay.
parking?
You would, if you pick offer one, you would counter with no environmental study and the parking spots that come with the building. If you do number two, you say by counter with the parking spots that come with the building, period.
It's a good point.
That's what you're looking at. That's, and you know, you just have to look at both of them, pick out the highlights, pick out the different things that are good, and then decide what you want to do. It's my business, professional opinion, and my responsibility as your realtor to tell you, if you have something on the table, you don't want it to go away. You want to keep the deal alive. So that being said, that's what you have to decide.
So she's saying don't reject it, just counter offer it.
Yeah, I
Are
think
you talking about countering both?
countering
You
both?
cannot count, you have to pick one.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
We can send out another form that is a notification that there are multiple listings, and they can, is this your final offer? And they can come back with another offer. Or they can say, this is my offer, I'm done. Then you can put the ball in their court, or you can do it by countering. You can pick one and you can counter it.
We had a situation a couple weeks ago with the house, and it ended up two bidders. We made multiple offers. There's paper here, both of them signed it. They give their best offer. Done.
Or you just pick the better offer, or which one you think is better too.
And then counter it.
Mhm.
So you have two choices.
So you do have two choices.
But we can't.
That's not saying that either one of them are going to send
Right,
anything
then,
back.
and they could withdraw their offer and be done.
But I see us in a situation here where we can't just say, was that your best offer? Because we have to counter, because we cannot, the parking is not an option on either offer.
Well, I think that they probably would understand.
But is that, so are we countering, or are we?
You are not. You are not going to put anything of that in there. They're going to come back with another offer that does or does not include parking. They're going to bring their best offer, the best thing they have. And if this is their best offer, they might say, nope, that wasn't my best offer, I'm done.
You're saying that's the option if we just refuse both?
No,
No.
she's counter offer.
I'm saying you can pick one and counter it, or you can send them a paper and see if they can do something better.
She's saying pick one, say the parking is off the table, and you can take it or leave it.
Well, I don't think she's saying that. That's not
That's the counter, that's the counter.
That's the counter, but you're saying there's another option that you can go back and say, okay,
Is this your best
it's just your
offer?
best offer, and then they can come
Have
back. and-
multiple offers.
Mhm.
This is the form right here.
The risk of that is that either could withdraw their offer.
Right.
Sure, sure.
They can still withdraw.
That's the form right
If you're going to reject it anyway, they can withdraw it if you counter.
It can be off the table.
So you might as well let them come back with their best one.
I agree.
I think you're right, Tyler.
I mean, there's no sense in countering one, just
I
let
don't
them both
sign
come back with their best.
I say,
I
we
don't
refuse them both and let them both make new
We
offers.
understand the parking both of them.
Right, so they both want their best offer with the real estate that's inside the survey.
And you give them a date to respond.
Yeah. Do you want to schedule a special meeting, and then that way they, because technically you guys can't make a decision outside of a regular meeting.
Again, I think it could be important to have that survey done, so we know how much room we have right behind the building.
Absolutely.
It sounds like the field work's done.
When is it going to be done?
So, Nate, do you think it'll be done in a week? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
I don't have a hard date from them. I can check and find out.
find that out. We
Who's
need
doing
to
it?
do that. Wim Hof doing that?
Yep.
I think you should know how many spots there are.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Well,
So it's a Board of Works decision.
That's right.
Okay.
okay. But the consensus of the council is
Refuse both offers.
sign the multiple offer notification and let them come back and
Right. With
they
the
can,
real
they can
estate,
make their best
it's
offer
contained
or they
inside
can
the
withdraw it.
survey.
But I think we also need to publicly acknowledge that we should have had this in place before we listed it, knowing exactly what parking
The
was.
survey, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would not be in this situation.
I thought-
if we had told them that.
I thought we did. I mean, we didn't advertise that we were selling City Hall and grounds outside of City Hall. We advertised we were selling
But
City
we
Hall.
didn't know, Kenny, I didn't know how deep that property went. And that's why we paid for the survey, to identify the perimeters. And now we've got those perimeters identified, so we're trying to sell the real estate that's in the perimeters of our survey.
Can I ask something?
Sure.
If you
Larry?
do the survey, and the survey just goes back behind the building and there's no parking, you know, could you run into that?
Well, we don't know, we're just saying whatever's in the survey
Right.
would be what I would suggest that they,
At this point, it's assumed those
Yeah.
spots where people have always parked behind City Hall, go with City Hall.
and we know what we use as an alley now is a permanent easement.
Right.
So we would assume that everything north of that easement is City Hall, but we're assuming. We need that survey where some smart guy tells us what it is.
That's pretty scary when we're calling Bill Wimhoff smart.
Okay.
Why did you get it, John?
Is there a motion either to accept one of the offers and counter, or is there a motion to sign the multiple offer notification and ask both parties to reconsider their offer and submit their best offer?
I think that's what the consensus is from council.
We gotta make a motion though, Bill.
Yeah, okay, I'll make that motion.
Second,
I will not
we're
vote.
refusing and opening it up for...
All in favor?
Aye.
You too.
Okay. John can't sign this,
Yeah, I need another motion,
so I would have either one of you,
or both of you.
yeah, just change it.
Yeah, you have to go out to both people, so their names will be up here.
Yep,
They'll be sent out to both people.
okay.
Then someone has to sign it.
Right, so one of you are going to have to be authorized, just make a motion for,
Make a motion to Kenny sign it.
Okay, and then,
is there a
Motion
second?
carried.
Okay. All right,
then you have to decide how long they have.
Yeah.
to decide.
so, when do you
have
want to
2
meet?
weeks.
Say, can we go through this again at the next Board of Works meeting, if so?
Yeah, so someone will withdraw it forever. Usually
Well,
they get
That's
it.
October
let's
6th.
not make it 6 o'clock at the, deadline. Let's make it early enough that Tim gets a chance to have it in his hands and review it, rather than having to review it at,
Now you're talking two different things.
Well,
Having it here at a certain time and then reviewing it at a different time.
I think maybe like noon the day of our meeting that they're in. That way you can get them to Tim for him to review. Does that make
Okay, so
sense?
you need to know.
So what date are you talking
October
about?
20th is our next meeting. Or October 6th, excuse me.
Okay.
Which is
Tuesday,
3
October
weeks.
6th.
That's 3
Noon would be
weeks.
the latest to...
Since it's being rejected, does that
It's not.
reopen it up to anybody?
Objective.
Yeah.
So anybody could pay
Yeah,
more
anybody
still?
could bring another offer, yeah.
That's 3 weeks. We got an extra
You have not,
Tuesday
you
in
not have
there.
an accepted offer on the table.
So just-
Do we want to wait that long?
I don't, but that's up to you guys.
I'm open for a special Board of Works meeting.
I'd say as soon as you know the survey's back.
Today's the 15th. If you go to the 29th, that's 2 weeks.
Can you tell Bill that we need the survey by then?
Exactly.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's even a long time.
Nate, will you have that survey, you think?
I just sent an email, so you're on.
I'm gonna do more than that. I'm gonna call him.
Can we have it in 3 days?
2 weeks
Yeah,
ago, we
that would
asked
be the
about
best.
it.
You don't want to...
Both these offers.
No, exactly. I mean, because the people that are interested, they have interest and want to get going on
Yes,
whatever they're
will
doing.
do what they're going to
If
do.
you're doing it on the 29th, you need to do it early. I've got a second meeting instead.
Yeah, we can do a special meeting on 29th and have it anytime,
Yeah,
4:30 if you want, or
That'd be
5,
good if
whenever
we
Kenny
could.
can get back from work.
if you can do that, it'd be good,
You won't come
because
any sooner.
I've got a meeting at 6.
I think.
We have to publish.
We don't know when we're going to get the survey.
I don't think that...
Why don't you just make it that, and
Okay, September 29th, is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Until noon?
noon?
noon.
And you want to meet at 4:45, John?
Yeah, that's fine.
And you do realize...
4:45,
Either one of them was
29th
like,
special.
we're not going to do this anymore.
Okay,
All right?
This is
Yeah.
open if we get another offer from another
Sure.
builder,
that's how I understand it.
then there's still interest out there.
Okay.
I just want to get the most
Oh,
for the
you're
city.
going to sign this for me? I
For the
can
building.
each of them. You are the seller right here,
Okay,
so you need to...
That's our
Just cross John's name out, print yours in, Kenny, and sign it.
And you do two of them.
So print my name here and sign it here.
Uh-huh. Date it. Above there.
Okay, we're going to the next item. Property and casualty insurance, I did check with Downing Insurance concerning our work comp. They are our current coverage with them. It's through the IPEP program. They are the only agent. They told me we can select any agent we want. So what I would suggest is we get quotes from any interested party without the workers' comp from Downing Insurance. We get a quote from them, but then after we add everything up, then we select whatever agent we want to use. So if that's okay with everybody, that's what we do. Talked a little bit, Melissa, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but we were talking a little bit about maybe Melissa taking over the website updates and agenda and things. I did tell you that, didn't I, at some time? Good. Right now, Aaron and Ethan do that. I'm sure if Melissa has questions or needs some help, she can still rely on them. But from now on, Melissa will be doing the website updates. Go ahead.
We talked about that, and that's no problem. I think that, I don't know if we're ready to publicly say that who's doing the website. I don't know that the person doing the website now has been spoken with, and I think that needs to happen first.
Oh, okay. I'll do that tomorrow. Josh, Joe, you may want to talk to Mike and Karen back there. We just finished up what we were doing here. Ann, you had a quick request, I think. Ann wanted to update us on some smoke testing.
The smoke testing for this year was concluded, and we're preparing to send out the notices to the residents. We have 78 minor defects, which requires them to return permission for us to fix small defects, and there are 21 significant letters. And we just need approval to send these out.
This is our third series of going through different areas of Decatur.
Now you gotta get the pump sign. South of Adams Street and west of Grant. So it's kind of that southwest.
West of Grant.
West of Grant, but
South of Adams.
So it goes out. Not Grant, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grant,
What?
yeah.
Doesn't Grant run east and west?
That goes north and south.
No,
Grant
Grant,
runs east and west.
Grant's east or west,
Yeah.
yeah.
Line, maybe? Line
Line.
Street?
Line Street.
Line? Okay.
Line's north.
That's the area, yeah. This is the third area that
Yeah.
we've smoke tested, and this is about average, isn't it? The
It's
defects,
smaller.
smaller.
It's- Well, the area.
Yeah, the area is smaller, so we have less defects accordingly.
And the significant ones are a lot.
Adams, Pepper Line.
Yeah.
Sure, mine.
So, we need to make a motion to proceed with the smoke testing. And it's the same firm, is that correct?
Yes,
Westler?
Westler.
Yeah, you're just asking permission to send the letters
Just
out.
to send the notice.
Right, sure.
And South Adams Street.
south of Adams and west of Line.
Bill motions, I'll second.
Motion's carried. Thanks, Ann.
Thank
Thank you, Ann.
So we should have something on lights for the park. We okayed this we've okayed the funding, I should say, back in May.
May 19th, council approved up to 10,000. That was for park signs and lamps down through River Greenway. We've got quotes now, which Board of Works will need to approve this. For 8 tall Victorian single light poles, it's $4,446 from Superior Land Products out of Warsaw, and I can't read that. What does that mean? Oh, here it's spelled out better.
I still can't pronounce it. Tuscumbia.
Ironworks,
Tuscumbia Ironworks out of Florence, Alabama.
$4,723.96.
Let's go with the one we can pronounce. Now, this is just the materials, right? This is
Yeah,
just
it's
materials
just
only.
light
Right?
poles.
We're going to install that ourselves. Right? Is that right?
This is for the signage on,
Yeah.
On the
It's for
trail?
Trailhead, yeah.
Well, we okayed this, we had the funding, but we never had the
Board of
quote.
Works has to approve the quote, since it's over that dollar amount.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
That's for the materials only.
Right.
Who's going to do the installation?
We are.
We are.
Okay.
Do it in-house.
Second.
Motion's carried, thank you. Winchester Road quotes, Jeremy? If you remember, we... Jeremy, this is Winchester Road. If you remember what I call the old Sullivan properties, where Dick Sullivan used to live, he sold that property, and we were going to run a sewer and water line to that property and then annex it. That's basically where we're at.
Yes,
And
this is one of the connect orders from the Health Department.
Adams County Health Department.
We've been working with the Sullivan family, which is the previous owner, and then also the new owners on this issue. Myself, Dave, Roger, John have met with these people over the last couple of years.
Was that the Legion?
Leach is the last one.
Leach now.
That's who bought the property.
We have come to a reasonable, what we feel is a very reasonable solution that would extend the sewer and water to this location.
To their furthest northern property line, right?
Well, that's changed a little bit, Bill.
Okay, that was the original thing.
Yeah, well,
That was our original scope, but, you know, we've scaled that back just a little bit to meet the needs of that property.
Well, to extend the water and extend the sewer, Jeremy went and got 2 quotations, one from Fleming of $11,450, and the other one is from Fox Contractors out of Fort Wayne, and their price is $12,675. So it's roughly about $1,200 less for Fleming. So we need approval, Board of Works approval to give them the okay to go ahead and do it.
It's kind of broke out there, what was it, like 5,000
Yeah,
on the water?
5,200 on the water and 6,250 on the sewage.
How big a line do you run?
1.5 inch force main.
Because this isn't going to be anything that we could use in the future.
No. And this is boring, it's not digging.
Boring, it is.
Boring, so you're not going to have a
There's a
lot
lot
of...
of utilities, there's a lot of challenges there, so it's going to be feasible for us to have.
Motion to go with Fleming.
Second.
Motion's carried, thank you. You can have them both. They're speaking to each other. Okay, Jeremy, you might as well stay up here. We had talked recently about alleys, and really, we don't have a whole lot of information. I'll pass around that Jeremy's given me some location, what alleys we're talking about.
They all should have had it emailed.
Oh, you emailed everybody? Good, good. He didn't include you. He's smart, Tim.
I got it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got it. Right there.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So you guys want another copy? I got one.
Yeah, I don't have a
So-
hard copy, I'll take one.
So anyhow, what should we do next? What should we do? Should we just have Jeremy contact these people and say we're looking at that and get some feedback from them? I don't want to just say, hey, we're opening up your alley. I don't think that's fair to the people, but they might have a legitimate reason why it should remain closed. You think, Jeremy, or? Yeah.
We just need to give them an option, give them a right to respond.
And let them come to the next council meeting or board of
Yeah,
works.
sure.
Fine.
You know,
That's somebody else to bring to our attention the issue in the interest of public safety, right?
that's
Public
the main
safety and
thing.
utilities.
Utilities, yeah. So, is that okay? We just have Jeremy send out a letter to them and say, hey, here's what we're thinking, and get some feedback from them. Okay? And we want to address that at the next meeting then?
Sure.
Which isn't
A
until
couple of
October
them
6th.
won't like it.
October 6th. Yeah. 3 weeks from tonight.
Are we negotiable for these? Just, I mean,
I think we just need to get some information.
okay,
Explain the concerns that utilities have,
okay.
that are part of what the fire and police have and such.
Well, even AEP, I know, sent a letter that they would like to have those alleys open for their reasons. Okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Max Miller, I seen him came in, I don't know where he went. Somebody told me, maybe it was Melissa, that we need permission for you to do your haunted wagon.
I was just gonna ask, wanted to make Greg aware, that we'll be doing it the first weekend and the last 3 weekends of October. We'll have a wagon in the city street. And in the past, officers have, thought we have actors or whatever. I just wanted him to make you aware that they're out there. They look mischievous, that's the whole idea of it. But,
All right. Okay. Well, I think we're all in favor of that. Just make sure you work it all out with Greg. That's fine. We'll give you permission.
I hear you're selling out nights already.
Yeah,
That's great. People enjoy it.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have some easements here, and I don't think we're going to have time to go through all of this, but there's some easements that American Electric Power, they're redoing their transmission lines north of Decatur, and there's a couple areas in Decatur that they don't have easements for. I'm going to recommend that we give these to Tim, have him review them, and then come back. The main areas are really out behind what used to be Schaefer Auto, and then Mark Beaumont's strip mall there. Yeah, those are the two main areas. Well, really, it goes all the way to Washington Street, so there's easement south of Mybers and one north of Mybers along that line. And they got a map in here, Tim, for you to look at. They pay us for it, but I don't know if that's good dollars or not. Then the other, there's two other, they call them roadway permits or something. Anyhow, it's basically they pay you to go over your street, like Rochester Court, their line is overhead, but then they pay you because that's our street. Sounds good to me.
I'll look at it.
Yeah, but that's what we'll do, is maybe give this to Tim. They gave the contact guy, AEP does not do this themselves, they go out to a right-of-way agent and have him, so if Tim has any questions, he can call him, email him, or whatever, so just so everybody knows what's going on there. That's all I have.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's carried. We adjourn.